I'll start off the introduction. I'll introduce myself. You introduce yourself. I'll just talk about the vision for the podcast and talk about who our guest is, and then just something like, all right, enjoy, or something. I don't know. Okay.
All right. This is not comfortable because I can't fit my legs under here.
Okay.
And
we'll figure it out for this one.
I mean, it's okay. I'm just like, I'm a shifter.
You're a shifty little...
I'm a little shifty sometimes.
You're a shifty baby.
Like, I just needed to, like, move around, but I knew I, like, couldn't do that a bunch.
Got it. Okay. Hello, one and all, friends and family, folks on the internet. My name is Frederick John Schneider IV, and...
I'm Sabrina Schneider.
And we are the Schnightmares, and you are tuning in to our very first video podcast, Schnightmares Podcast, Episode 1. Today we have the pleasure of interviewing Michael George, who is a friend of mine. He's my boss, and he is the owner of Café Gratitude, Kansas City, which is a local vegan restaurant, organic vegan restaurant. Thanks for tuning in and enjoy our very first podcast.
I'm so dorky.
There you are. Hey.
Sweet.
Mike.
Hey, sorry about that. That was totally on my end. There's a join video and a join audio button.
Yeah.
So I hit the join video, but...
Great. Well, how are you doing, man?
I'm doing really good. I'm doing really, really good. I am, let me change it so I'm just looking at you and not looking at me.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm doing really good. We're about to open the cafe. I have about 7 days, or T-minus 5 days now, I guess. And then I've just been going, just really, really been catching up, getting everything done, starting new companies, trying to like see how to capitalize on this whole Corona thing.
Yeah.
It's just been like go.
That's awesome, man.
So, yeah. I think it's gonna go pretty good.
Good.
I think we're gonna do well this year.
Awesome.
So.
Well, so you are the first guest on our new podcast, which we are calling Schnightmares. It's just kind of an inside joke that we have with one of our friends.
Schnightmares.
Yeah. So the idea is it's just because Schneider Nightmare. It's just basically it just works because we're always like getting into trouble, and I don't know. It seems like we're little Schnightmares. That's just the joke. That's all it is.
Got it. I like it.
Yeah.
I like it.
So basically, I wanted something creative to do, and I also wanted something for us to collaborate on, and a way to keep in touch with friends. And I thought it was like 3 birds, 1 stone to just do a little podcast and
Nice.
Take the time to just learn more about the people I love, you know?
Awesome.
So
Awesome. Yeah, I love that.
yeah. So I thought it might be cool to start with clearing. Do you think that would be something that would be good to start with?
Yeah, sure. Well, I guess I have a question.
Sure.
Does your audience know who you are?
Well, this probably will start out on Facebook. So for the people, most of the people, anyone who would be interested in watching this probably already knows who I am.
Well, I think it'd be useful if I shared who you are for me.
Oh, okay.
So, so Frederick, for everybody who's watching who may not know who he is a stellar, first off, bartender at the cafe, but that's just the bare minimum. He's a very good friend. He's one of the most open-hearted people that I know, one of the most genuine-hearted people that I know. Very much is on the lookout for everybody, and has a particular interest in those who are maybe a little less fortunate. And he's a really, really, really great guy. And it's an honor to call you my friend, truly.
Thank you, Mike. That's
for sure.
Wow.
For sure. Yeah. So that's who Frederick is.
I appreciate it, buddy. Okay. So clearing is something that I've only known about for maybe a year and a half now. It was revolutionary when first Jordan Thompson showed it to me outside of the cafe, and then when I came to work, I really started to truly understand it. But would you be able to just kind of explain like the purpose of what clearing is and what it means to you and why you do it?
Yeah. Clearing is, so clearing sort of implies that there's something there that needs to go away, or that's being cleared out, if you will. And what that is generally where our attention's at. So our attention's on some sort of, and generally we get fixated on negative things. And we get fixated on negative things in our life, negative experiences, negative feelings, because we resist them. That's like the fundamental sort of mechanism by which that works. And so clearing is our attempt to have people be able to clear out those things that exist for people, like where their attention's locked up. And the purpose of that is that we say that when someone's attention's not focused on those things, when they're left to themselves naturally, they're beautiful. People are inherently amazing. And when you clear out what's in the way, what's left is love, what's left is presence, what's left is grace. And that's who we want to be both working with, and that's who we want serving our customers. That's who we want making the food. It's that aspect of what it is to be human. Yeah. So clearing, the purpose of clearing is so that people are present to that in themselves and present to that in others.
That's very cool. We actually earlier today, just completely organically, I cleared Sabrina because she came up to me. I was just talking about like wanting to go over what clearing is with you today, and she was like, "Oh, well, we can clear right now." I think she was half joking, but we ended up actually doing it. Yeah. And I thought it was beautiful. What was it like for you?
No, I thought it was great. Yeah, I think it was a good experience. Something that I would be down to do more. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And what I love about it is, I come from a pretty typical evangelical Christian background family-wise, and I feel like that camp is very resistant to a lot of like things that may be too out there, to like middle, like I don't know, like new agey, whatever you want to call it.
Yes.
But I feel like clearing is non-threatening and compatible with any system of beliefs. It's just, I feel like it's kind of undeniably beautiful and positive. I don't really think you can have any issues with it, no matter how set you are in your way of looking at the world.
Yeah. I think it's not too volatile or sticky in terms of like an ideology, right? There's not a whole lot that you can really latch onto it, because you're not really doing anything. You're just sort of, that's the idea, is to not bring anything to a conversation that we normally bring that gets in the way. And so it's pretty free of that. I think where you run into trouble with clearing in general is when people stop sort of being responsible for their own well-being and try and like use a conversation, or trying to when they stop being responsible in that way, and when clearing is used as a tool for them to contribute to themselves and to contribute to others, great. But when clearing is sort of trauma sharing without really actually clearing it out, then I don't think it's necessarily negative. It's just not as useful.
Okay. You can see that.
Yeah.
Got it. So are you down to do it real quick? Like
For sure. Yeah.
Because Sabrina got cleared today. I haven't been cleared yet, and it's been a while. So.
Oh, okay. Are you working with certain questions of the day, or would you like to go on the fly?
So my questions I used with Sabrina earlier are what is weighing you down, and the shadow or the light question was I think what brings you joy. Yeah, pretty classic one. Do you want to come up with them, or do you want to use them?
No, I think that's great. What weighs you down and what? Well, generally, that's great. Yeah, let's do a clearing.
Okay, perfect. Do you want to clear me first?
For sure.
Great.
All right, Frederick, are you in a place So we got all this stuff going on. We got this recording going on, all this sort of stuff. But all that stuff going on, can you put that to the side for a moment? And are you in a place where you're able and willing to be cleared?
Yes, absolutely.
Thank you. Is there anything that you'd like to clear about in particular?
No, nothing in particular.
Okay, great. So the question today is, what weighs you down? Or what's weighing you down?
Yeah. Well, I think I see a lot of people talking about this pressure to be productive, to be generating like creativity, to be like chasing those dreams, making those dreams come true. And yeah, so I'm feeling that pressure. And when I am not accomplishing those things, the kind of shame of it is weighing me down, I would say, and also just the kind of overall fear that it's nothing. I'm never gonna make these dreams come true. You know, that's kind of the baggage that in my day-to-day quarantine life, you know, makes me get a little bit done and then not enough, and then make myself wrong for it. That's kind of the cycle that I've been experiencing weighing me down lately.
Got it. Thank you. So what I hear you saying is that what's weighing you down is during this quarantine time, a lot of people are talking about being productive, getting a lot of things done. And you notice that for you, that when you're not getting a lot of things done, you feel shame about that. And so then you do get some things done, and then you don't get it, then you do a little bit and you stop, and then there's some fear that you're never going to get this stuff done. So you have some experience of shame, you have some experience of fear, and during this whole quarantine process, that's the things that are weighing you down.
Yep, perfect.
Good. Besides shame and fear, is there, or along with shame and fear, is there any other emotions that come up when your attention's on these things that are weighing you down?
Yeah, besides those two main ones, I think the most like specific experience around it that I'm having is just kind of an inadequacy, like not like I'm too small and always be too small. Like inadequate is the feeling.
Got it. Inadequate. So inadequate, what would you say is the emotion of inadequacy? So yeah.
Well, I would say
small kind of captures it a little bit.
Yeah, just from the feeling of not enough, inadequate is it's a little bit of jealousy, and it's a little bit of just like self-hatred, you know.
Yeah, got it. Okay, got it. Yeah. So jealousy and self-hatred.
Yeah.
Good, got it, clear. All right, so take a moment, or take as much time as you want actually, and let yourself be with those experiences of shame, of fear, of jealousy, of self-hatred. Just let yourself be with those emotions for just give them as much time as you want.
Okay.
It's one of those rare things that we don't often let ourselves just be with our experience. It hasn't bit us yet.
Okay, awesome.
Thank you. The question of today is, what brings you joy?
What brings me joy is it's the two biggest things are spending time with people I love, and being recognized for being creative.
Got it.
I really enjoy the process of creating things, but I think I enjoy the recognition more. So honesty time, is
great.
Yeah. So
that's so great. And what I want to acknowledge you for is so deeply perfect inside of that last piece. It is, to to be somebody that's just willing to share your heart and to share yourself authentically, like the good and the bad, like the pieces of us that we normally have to, like, you know, hide or pretend, blah 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 blah, and even the honesty around the joy of recognition from others. It speaks to an enormous strength and enormous centeredness in your character, that your ability to be able to speak to those things and to not be ashamed and to be open about it. So I acknowledge you for your openness, and I acknowledge you for how strong and loving you are to be how you are.
Thanks, Mike.
Yeah.
Okay.
Great.
Mike, are you present and ready to clear?
I am.
Great. What is weighing you down?
What's weighing me down? The biggest thing that's weighing me down is I feel afraid. Deep down, I feel very afraid. In the mornings, I wake up shaking often. And it's been this way for several months, or almost a year, or maybe a little bit longer than that. And God, I just wish it would go away. I just wish it would just flat disappear. And I worry because it has me be, and so one of the emotions that come up for me is worry, because I feel like this fear is just underneath everything. So I question, I not judge myself, but I'm not sure of myself. I don't trust myself. And so worry is one of the emotions that comes up, and sadness.
Okay.
Sadness, yeah.
Got it. Okay. So what I'm hearing is that you are experiencing a great deal of fear. You said particularly you have this repeating experience of waking up in the morning shaking with fear, with even like a bodily sensation of fear.
Yeah.
And yeah, so there's fear, there's worry, coupled with that, emotions of sadness, and you wish it would stop. I get that.
Yeah,
Definitely.
yeah, totally.
Is there anything you want to add to that, or any other emotions that or sensations that come up when you have your attention on
Yeah,
that?
it's been going on for so long. I feel defeated. You know, so what's that emotion? That emotion is like resigned.
Resigned.
Resigned, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it. All right. Well, let's spend a few moments with that resigned feeling.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, what brings you joy?
What brings me joy? I've made investments in this coronavirus thing because everything went down, and so I took whatever money I had and I put most of it into these things, and it's going up in the stock market just because it just went down so much, and I'm getting a lot of joy out of that.
That's awesome.
I am like enjoying watching those little numbers go up, and like playing the markets and seeing like, oh, whatever, you know, I've been enjoying that. And in my relationship with my girlfriend, like we are on a rocket ship ride of a relationship, super fast, and dropping into deeper spaces of love, like giggling, laughing. That's those moments really bring me a lot of joy. They really bring me a lot of joy in the present and the possibility of our future together.
Beautiful. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Happy for you. Okay, well, Mike, man, I want to acknowledge you for really just taking advantage of this time in a positive way, for really applying, like, just squeezing the joy and life out of this. You know, it's like life gives you lemons kind of situation, and you're making lemonade and you're finding joy in it.
Making that lemonade.
Making delicious lemonade. So I want to acknowledge you for your business acumen, your lemonade skills, and for just really like, even through fear, you mentioned just having a joy that's palpable and infectious, and allowing us to get some secondhand joy off of you. So I appreciate you.
Thanks for opening the lemonade stand.
Thank you for opening your lemonade stand.
Yeah, you're welcome. And we're opening back up on Friday.
That's
so,
exciting.
Hey,
yeah.
Exactly.
That's so exciting.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, and the good thing about this fear situation thing, because it's like this underlying thing, is it's like I'm not too scared. Like I'm taking some like risky things and I'm going for it, and it's like, oh man, let's just go for it, So I don't know. Maybe there's like this, good bad of the whole thing.
Great. Okay. Maybe could you give me like a short 2 to 3 minute summary of like who you are, where you come from, and how the cafe came to be? It could be 5 minutes. It doesn't have to be super short.
Sure. Yeah. We could go quick. So who I am is I am Michael George. I was born in Japan. I grew up in Alaska. Went to school in Chicago. Spent about 10 years as an engineer and a little bit of time as a carpenter. And I got really into personal development, transformation, enlightenment. Spent some time in India meditating over there. Have had different spiritual teachers. And I've had some very authentic, powerful experiences of awakening. And all of that, both to training and coaching and training development and leadership, communication, all that sort of speaks to this spark of a human being that's really divine and beautiful when it's not blocked. And so back about 8 years ago, my ex-wife now, wife then, Natalie, was really into vegan food, and she was also participating in sort of transformational or waking up sort of work with me. Not with me, but together with both of us. And Café Gratitude just came on as this sort of perfect dance between health, contribution to a community, and for me, really what it is to contribute to people, and what it is to create an environment where people get to discover themselves. And so that was really the heart of it for me, was how can we create a place that would just facilitate that. And so my interest is in, not so much as my interest is how do you create that kind of environment? I don't think we've done it successfully at the cafe. It's not that we've failed totally, but we haven't really succeeded against the vision for that. And so how do you do that? How do you create an environment where the being of the environment and the practices of the environment literally leave people with the deeper experiences of themselves, and more power and more love and more affinity in their lives. So that's me, and that's kind of what I'm about.
Cool.
And I'm having a kid. Kid on the way.
Yeah.
I've been dating my girlfriend recently. She's amazing. She's really incredible. Like, I'm both nervous that I'm having a kid, and really relaxed about it at the same time. So it's just a lot's happening right now, but that's about it.
That's great. Definitely want to get into the having a kid here in a bit. I am interested, cafe wise. At what point so when you and your wife's or ex-wife's relationship was ending, and the cafe was going to be on your shoulders, like I wasn't here for that, so I don't really know like what the chain of events was, but like so I'm curious about that, and also just like what was the process of like fully taking the cafe on and like realizing that you are going to like pour yourself into this like more than ever. Like what was that like?
Right. Let's see here. unrealistic. I both mean that in the good way and the bad way. So when we got a divorce, we split everything down the middle. We had a whole divorce ceremony. We invited all our friends and family. We declared to our friends and family that we weren't going to be together anymore, that we still love each other. And we split everything down the middle, including the management of the cafe. And I had a commitment at that time to, since Natalie was really the spearhead, and I helped facilitate her in creating the cafe, but she was really the leader in the project. We tried to do this thing for several years where I was managing the restaurant here and she lived in somewhere else. But she was still getting paid and, like that. And I thought that was appropriate for, sort of her role as kind of the founder. And everything was going pretty well in that context, but then it started to become clear after several years that for me to really expand into the life that I wanted, I had to either step away from the cafe fully or I had to take on the cafe fully. Like the 50-50 thing was no longer working since our lives were kind of moving in different directions and what I wanted was different than what she wanted and it wasn't appropriate anymore. And so it took us about maybe 8 to 9 months to really, from the time I said, I was the one that initiated, like I either need to go or I need to stay. I'm down for either, but we need to figure that out. And it took about 8 or 9 months before it came down to, she took it over for a little bit, ran it for a little bit. I took it over, just kind of back and forth, and it came to this place where it was mine, and it was for me to take. So then I went through a process of asking my family for money. I went through the process of just doing everything I can, sort of leveraging all the net worth I have against all the assets I have to purchase her portion of the cafe from her.
Right.
And and so that happened. That happened early last year, in March, February timeframe.
Gotcha.
And it's been hard, and it's been really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that happened pretty much right before I came to the cafe, like a few months before I came.
Yeah. You've only known me in charge. Yeah.
Exactly. And so, she's come in, she seems lovely, and she'll sit down, and it's just like, to other people, like she's that. And to me, it's like, I don't have that.
Yeah. You get a discount.
Yeah. Right.
Exactly. Yeah. She's great gal.
So with you had like a divorce ceremony or was it like a party, or like how did you do it? Like what was that like?
It was pretty cool. So one of the things when we decided to get a divorce, we knew that the community had really formed itself around us being a couple. And unless we sort of took over the conversation of what a divorce is, no matter how sort of evolved our community is, they're still going to sort of fall victim to that side, this side mentality. And we didn't want that. And so what we did is we invited, I think, about 100 people. About 80 showed up to the cafe. My family flew down from Alaska.
Wow.
And what we did is Natalie said her vows in the marriage. I didn't say my vows. I didn't like my vows. I thought my vows were kind of, I just didn't think I did a good job on them. So I was kind of embarrassed about them. So I didn't say my vows, but Natalie wanted to say her vows. So she said her vows. And then we created our relationship for everybody. We created all the ways we sort of communicate. You know how when you're in a relationship for a long time, you start to get your own language.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like you could like grunt 3 times and then, okay, well, we're going to get apples tonight, whatever. It's just like, it's like this really remarkable thing. Well, and inside of that, you sort of fight in particular ways. You resolve things in particular ways. It's like your relationship is sort of this unique thing.
Yeah.
Every relationship's that way. And so, so we just presenced that, and we said, you know, and we just talked about those things, like these different sort of key moments in our relationships where we would sort of fight or come back, or just or our weird language and stuff. And then we asked anybody who wanted to share in the room what difference our marriage made in their lives.
Mm.
Yeah.
And we asked, and we did all this because we wanted to presence the marriage. We wanted to bring forth the presence of this thing, which is a marriage, and our marriage. And so we wanted to talk about what it was for us, and we wanted to talk about what it was for other people.
Mm.
And inside of that, once it was all present, you know, we said, you know, we loved each other before we got married, and we're going to love each other after we're divorced. And so, and this marriage is complete.
Yeah.
I see.
And we completed the marriage.
Wow.
That's great. I mean, I think that's really beautiful to be able to end it that way, you know.
Positively.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was done really well.
So,
It was.
Yeah.
So, Mike, what's it like to own a restaurant in the age of coronavirus? What's it like, man?
Well, I don't technically own a restaurant in the age of coronavirus. I mean, I technically own a restaurant, but I don't own an operating restaurant
Right.
in the age of the coronavirus. Yeah. You know, we're in a really good position going into the coronavirus. We're always sort of cash heavy, meaning like we don't like to get in trouble. I don't like to be stressed about money and stuff like that. So I try to not pay out to investors and stuff. I try to keep a lot back. And so we were in a pretty solid position, and so there wasn't really any stress of us being down for a couple months. And but then like all the bills came due, all the credit card had to get paid off, all the stuff, and then it sort of dwindled down. I was like, oh man, we should probably open back up. So it's been a little nerve-wracking, and it's been, but honestly for me, I've been running this thing for 8 years, and when you run something like this, it's just always there. It's always in the background, and to have it be quiet in the background for the once in a long time, it's been really, really nice, and it's been really good to get a sort of overall picture of the cafe. And we've been able to do things and get things done in the space that we haven't been able to do since we opened. I think I'm pretty much getting every single thing I wanted to get done.
Yeah.
And the thinking for me as a restaurant owner, now this is sort of more on the business side of things. There's two sides to it. There's the business and like our contribution to the community. So one of them is on the business side of things, it's like this social distancing thing is not going to end for a while. Even though that the Kansas City might unlock itself on May 15th, it doesn't mean that people are actually going to go out. And I actually doubt that they will in mass.
Yeah.
So we got to reduce the overall, we got to reduce our restaurant seating capacity probably by at least half to accommodate for the new social distancing guidelines. We have to, everything's about to go and delivery now and curbside. So how do we communicate the message of Café Gratitude? How can we talk about the space of being, or how can we be great with customers when we have to communicate that through a DoorDash person or through an Uber Eats person, or, like that. Like if it becomes just about a food item, which is critical, which is really important, but if it's just about that, then a lot of the heart of the cafe is missed.
It's true. The cafe is a lot about the whole experience. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And that entire experience is like, okay, well, how do you translate that into like a to-go?
Yeah, and for anybody who doesn't know, like what are the hallmarks of what Café Gratitude does differently than other restaurants, and what's the mission?
Well, the mission is love is served. So that's the heart of it. Is the mission mission is like, how can we, and by love, it's like love is a particular, the particular experience of being loved, the experience of being cared for.
Yeah.
Someone being of service to you. And that's both to our customers, that's to each other as fellow employees, that's between us and our service people, delivery people. It's a matter of like, how can we communicate love, and how can we communicate the experience of love to our customers, and how can they communicate the experience of love to people in their lives.
Yeah.
And so that's the mission. And when you have that one-on-one interaction with people, it's a lot easier to do that. It's like, I'm there, I'm smiling, I'm being of service, I'm appreciating you being there, I'm laughing and joking, I'm welcoming you as somebody that I'm familiar with. I know, just that world. So a lot of that's gone. We try to, another ways we do it is we affirm a world that we are committed to. So we affirm gratitude, or we affirm abundance.
Yeah.
And one of the ways we do that is we have our menu items are named to particular things, like you are beautiful, or they're named affirmations. I am beautiful. I am alive. I am transformed.
Yeah.
So whenever anybody is receiving a meal at the cafe, they're getting acknowledged by the server. They're getting acknowledged with, you are transformed, you are beautiful, you are like that.
Yeah.
And that's one of those, sometimes a little cheeky, but sometimes it really takes something for people to really consider that world of themselves.
Yeah.
And it has, and it's both something, it's kind of like this. We're trying to alter a conversation. We're trying to alter the conversation that people are in, from one of scarcity to one of abundance, from one of survival to thriving, from fear to love. Like, we're trying to alter that conversation. And one of the ways is through these affirmations. Another way is through, we ask all our customers when they come in, or ideally all of them, the question of the day. So when we did that clearing session, what brings you joy? That would be the question of the day at the cafe.
Yeah.
And so we'd ask our customers that, what brings you joy? So that people can literally stop and talk about that. And we say, and I say, that the saying of that, the conversation of that, makes a difference. When someone brings their attention to that, not at odds with what's not working that's not working in their lives, but we're so fixated on that. It's like, well, what if you just took a break from that for a moment and looked at, well, what brings you joy? That makes a difference for people. I know sometimes I'm reminded of what it means to be grateful, or what it is to be grateful, and then I start practicing it, and it makes a difference. It makes a difference in my life to practice being grateful. And so that's the sort of world of the cafe, and the world in which we're trying to make a difference.
It's awesome. It is truly a blessing to be a part of that process, to just be part of, speaking from experience, to just to get the chance. It feels like, it does genuinely feel like an honor to get to be part of providing that for other people. So it's good.
Thank you, man.
Yeah.
That's great. It's good to hear.
I could tell that working at the cafe was good for him. Through the months, when he was working there.
Yeah.
After starting working there, I could see a change in him. It was really cool.
Tell our viewers about my glow up.
His glow up. I don't really know how to put it. I guess just, but yeah, I could definitely see the change, and probably more positivity, more openness, a deeper connection with other people after he had spent months at the cafe. Really just saw him thriving in ways I hadn't seen before, which was really cool. I think especially just being able to connect with other people. I know he's introverted and kind of just sometimes had social awkwardness. Right? So, I don't know.
That's fair.
That's
That's
I didn't
totally
mean to put
fair.
it like that. I meant social anxiety or that kind of thing. But just after months at the cafe, it was really cool to see him building friendships with his coworkers there, and he just seemed brighter, and so that was really, really awesome. Yeah.
Awesome. Awesome. Sorry, sorry for that. I had to move, but my laptop was about to die. So
That's
No
okay.
worries. No worries.
I had to go to my charger. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's so great. Like, it's so great because I don't, I'm not there every day on the ground, and I know Frederick from a certain perspective, and it's so great to get that. Like, it really does make a difference for me to know that it does make a difference.
Yeah.
It's hard sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes because it doesn't fulfill on the vision that I have exactly, I'm not nailing it in that way. Sometimes I think like, oh, it's not making any difference, so.
No.
So it's good to hear.
Yeah, it's made a difference. Yeah, it was really cool when he like started telling me like, oh, I'm making these friends. I'm like, oh, I love this person. And like, we're really connecting, and I was just happy to see him like, yeah, broadening like his friend group, and he just seemed a lot happier to like have the friends that he has there. So
Nice.
It's
Awesome.
it's a family, or it is like, it's like a family. It's like a place where the only way to not fit in is to not like give of yourself. Like, the only way to not fit in is to not like play the game and engage with everyone else. Like, if you're willing to like give a little bit and engage and like just like get on the same level as everybody else, like it comes out that you are a beautiful, lovable person no matter what. Like, as long as you don't like rebuff the whole experience,
Yeah.
you end up like fitting in, which for a lot of people, like for me, like it's always been a concern of mine, like what if they don't like me, what if I don't fit in? But everyone is welcoming, and as long as you join the team with like wholeheartedly, everybody is loved and involved, and that's amazing.
yeah.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like it's honor of self.
Yeah.
And it's like honoring each self as a unique thing and a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
But we kind of have to honor ourselves before we can honor others.
Yeah.
So it's this weird thing.
Yeah. Okay, so tell me about becoming a father. Tell me about the emotion there and the experience there.
You know what it is? Okay, so when it happened, it was like I was deeply peaceful about it. Surprisingly, like it was strange. Like it wasn't anything except peaceful. Like, oh, okay, like and just this sort of, but a notable peacefulness about it. Not like a nothing, but like a okay, here we go. And I find myself taking more risks, pushing for this baby that isn't here yet, and for my girlfriend, and wanting to set us up so that we're in a good place.
Yeah.
And there's a level of, it's going to sound a little strange, but there's a lack of consideration for the things I used to consider. It used to be more like, oh, well, what are they going to think? What is this going to do? And I get a little stopped by that. Now it's more like, just go. Just go. We will make this work. It's going to work. If it doesn't work, I'll find something that does work. It's like, so.
Yeah.
So there's a I don't know what you'd call that exactly, but there's a not messing aroundness that's happening now. And I feel much more honestly like a man. I feel like I'm going to create this thing, and I'm going to. One of the things that I'm sort of quote unquote struggling with, that's a little tough for me, is not getting myopically focused on my family. And that, because I think the greatest contribution that I can be to my future son and to my girlfriend, to my partner, is my presence. And my presence and my aliveness is most alive when I'm I don't know how to say it, but it's not And me being in that space is literally the biggest contribution I think I can make. And so I can notice myself in my thinking often going towards, I could set this up, I could create this, I could get this house for us, I could and all that's fine, but not to just limit my life to that, to not limit myself to and miss out on the larger picture of what the cafe is about, or what my life's about. Because I think it'd be easy to hide inside of being a good father. But that doesn't necessarily mean that I'm a good role model inside of that. If that makes sense. It's not to say like I wouldn't be. Being a great father is a great thing. It's an important thing.
Yeah.
But I think that the fullness of a person is maybe something like making sure I keep intact my relationship with God.
Okay.
Something like that. Keeping my relationship with stillness, emptiness, aliveness intact, and I struggle with that because it's the best reason ever. Like, I'm going to do this. Why? Because of my family, and no one would ever question that, and I would totally, and no one would ever. No, that's a totally valid reason. That's a great reason, and all that. And so, and it's not totally the fullness.
Yeah.
So I hope that makes sense. I'm not diminishing that context. I'm not diminishing that. Well, it's totally valid and valuable, and it's been really empowering to me, and not getting completely
I think that makes sense. Yeah. You don't want to lose your sense of self just because you're now starting this family. You still have your own individual self. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that sense of self is a real contribution to the family.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, absolutely.
That makes total sense. Are there any like experiences fatherhood wise that you're like really looking forward to? Like, I can't wait to take them to do this, or
So I have this one. I have lots of different ones. I mean, I imagine like cuddling and all that. That's gonna be great. But I have this idea of when he's 9. It's gonna be a boy. His name is Kenji. My middle name's Kenji.
Wow, awesome.
I have an idea like when he's 9 or maybe like 12. I'm interested in these rites of passage.
Yeah.
You know, and so I've been having in my mind like this week-long trip where it's just me and him, and like we really go for it. We really go for it on this trip, and we have like a survival radio, but that's it. And we go in, not that's it. I mean, we have our camping gear and all that sort of stuff, but we go into a place where we gotta work it out. He's gotta push it. And to be there and to be in this process of him, you know, discovering how strong he is. That's moving to me. And the idea of that is rolling around in my head. And I think that those, to really facilitate and be there around those sort of rites of passage, particularly like early teens, 12 early teens, and then 18, 21, 22, going into the world, like to be able to really offer something there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think a rite of passage is kind of important. I don't remember where I read it, but I remember reading something about how like our American culture doesn't really have much of like a rite of passage into adulthood, and how I think that kind of leaves people seeking like, oh, what makes me a man, what makes me a woman, what makes me who I am, and that kind of thing, whereas other cultures have like a very set thing, like you are now like being brought into this new period of your life with a rite of passage. And I think it kind of gives people like a sense of confidence with like having a rite of passage. That's kind of like, I don't remember where I read it. I was reading some article about it, and I was like, oh yeah, that sounds really cool. So
I think it's a big missing, particularly, I don't know about in a feminine context, but I know in a masculine context it is a big missing.
Yeah.
That our culture, and I think because we're such a melting it just doesn't necessarily inherently live anywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We kind of had a rite of passage in our church context. Like we did a trip when we were like 16, 17, whatever.
I think I was.
Were you 17?
I think I was 17.
Yeah. So we had that in our like Christian upbringing context where it was like a was it a week or 2 weeks?
2 weeks.
2 weeks. It was a 2-week long trip to Seattle area with no parents, limited like supplies, and we just hiked and so that was really cool. So I feel fortunate that we kind of had something along those lines.
Yeah, even though we've both kind of broken away from religion now, like it still I think was a really valuable experience. And
yeah, absolutely, yeah. That's religion is, I think, in many ways an escalator, and a healthy religion will get you to the next level.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah, no, that's great. That's really great. And then there's another thing that I like to think of. It's like there's something about I see myself dancing a lot with him. Like holding and dancing. For some reason, that one comes up for me a lot.
That's fun.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
I got a kitty.
Get a kitty. Yeah. Well, that was the end of my questions. Mike, do you have anything else that you want to say or any questions you have? Because otherwise we can kind of start wrapping this up. It's been amazing.
Yeah, no, I don't think so. I think I'm pretty good. It's really great. It's really great to share, honestly.
Yeah.
I haven't really answered these questions to anybody.
Yeah. Well, thank you for giving us your time, and thanks for being a part of our day and being a part of my life.
Yeah, nice to get to know you a bit. Yeah.
Thank you so much for doing this.
Yeah.
Are you going to post them on Facebook, or where you posted them?
Yes, I'm going to edit it together, post it on Facebook, probably like make a YouTube just cause, and post it on a couple places, but I'll definitely tag you and make sure that you get to see it. I want to be doing this at least once, maybe twice a week with different friends, and maybe eventually we'll start. I don't know. We'll see where it goes, but it'll be great. So.
Perfect. It was nice to meet you again.
Yeah, you too. Definitely.
All right.
Nice.
Thanks, Mike.
Okay.
Okay.
Have a good
See ya.
one.